Hi guys. So I just came back from my Italy tour like 1 hour ago. Yeah, and yeah, I made a video about my previous thoughts, and now it's kind of should be like a video like right after. Um, just some reflection and yeah. Tour was great. It was like for 1 week, and I nearly made it. I didn't made it all the way. But it was without navigation, and that's pretty impressive actually. Like with navigation, I would easily made it if I had better, stricter navigation. Then I would even have made it without my phone. But um, yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I don't share everything, but some things. Yeah. Like the Lord clearly told me to do it, and I didn't want to do it, but it's obedience. It's you get some chances in your life where God is calling you out, and if you miss those, you can't ever get that close to God as if you take those chances. Like Moses, God told him to do the trip, and he did it, and through the trip he came closer to God. And if he didn't do the trip, he would still be shepherding sheeps in the desert. Yeah. So yeah, great verses is in Second Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in weakness. Therefore I delight in weakness, in insults, in distresses, in persecution, in difficulties, in behalf of Christ. For when I am weak, I am strong. Yeah, and like the Bible becomes real, if you do something courageous, then it's either God or you dead. And then, yeah, God does really exist and help you out. God does really, His grace really is sufficient, and He is really strong in those who are weak and broken. Yeah. Okay. So I started, yeah. I just say a few points. I don't go too much in detail. Yeah, there was like in Innsbruck, close before that. I was there at evening, at night, and I had to knock on people's door and ask them if I could sleep at their bed. But yeah, really did not want to, and I was fighting with God, like, yeah, why, and why can't you make an easier way, and and then was thinking about knocking, but didn't dare to, and just you can't drive backwards. So I just kept going forwards, and this highly strong internal fight, and then just I thought like, yeah, I'm just going to Rome without food, without shelter, just fasting 1 week. Might be possible even. Yeah, no, it's not possible. But yeah, and then another village, and I wanted to ask and didn't dare to. And then the name of the village was Sankt Getraudig, which is like Saint. And then Getraudig, it's like one word, but if you look closer to it, it's come on, it's Saint, come on, dare it, or come on, be brave and try it. In Austrian dialect, so it's unbelievable funny. And so I kind of did get the courage after like 40 minutes of praying to ask for something We talked a bit, and then later was asked if he could sleep, and he was like, no. But it was a huge milestone for me to ask, and then I asked 10 more people because it was getting dark and people were going to sleep, and we're just in a few villages, houses were just lights, and in the distance was a thunderstorm coming. Yeah, so I did like tell people, but they all said no, and it really hurt. Really gets you humble, which is awesome. In the end, I slept at the farmer on hay. Yeah, and could stay dry, but it was a tough night. It was cold, and I had hunger and had nothing to eat, and hadn't much to drink. I had nothing to drink. Yeah. Yeah, but God is close. You know, you're there, and it's hurting, and the frost is biting, and then you go into like a state of prayer, and you feel like God is close. I wrote down, I feel it, him, in me, you know, like that he's close. Yeah, and I thought about driving home. It would be like 3 hours. Not more, but yeah. Still make feasible. Or keep going to Italy, you know, because like the whole question is like, can God provide? You know, and I don't speak Italian. I'm not a good preacher. Yeah, so, or anything. And if God can't provide like on the first night, how should he do it on the other? Or why not? Why didn't he do it on the first night? Yeah, but I somehow had thought that it would get better, and it just I just was going out in faith. You know, it makes no sense logically or whatsoever. Okay, Monday started in before the dawn. No water, nothing to eat. Yeah, over the mountains. Oh yeah. Then there was a situation where I became completely wet, and I just had my one piece of clothes, like one sweater, 3 t-shirts, yeah, and a short short pants and one pair of long pants. Yeah, and I was completely wet. I had it all on because it was cold, but then it rained, and it just rained a bit, and I had to keep going, and yeah, eventually I was completely wet. That's you know, unbelievable. You know, that's like a no-go, because when it gets dark and then cold and you're wet, and it's, I don't know what like would have happened, but you get like sick, and then you can't do anything. Like that's then it's over. Yeah, but then at evening or night, I was just driving. I wanted to just get out of the Alps, and because like south there, it's like always warmer. And then there was like a engine room of a water power plant, just a small one, and it wasn't like in the middle of the forest. It was like out there, and I drove past, but then I thought about it and came back and went there, and it was obviously closed. And then I went around, and then on the backside there was like a hot stream of air coming out for cooling, and I was like that was like my lifesaver, because it could dry up my whole clothes within a few minutes, and I slept right there, and it was pretty warm. Yeah, that was my lifesaver. Okay, and then So God told me to do the trip, and the goal is to grow yourself, to give to honor God, which should be the main goal, and to evangelize. And then on the next day, I got to know a guy with whom I spent the next 4 days, and I'm pretty sure because of him I made the trip. Because of him, God wanted me to make the trip. And he just slept 100 meters past me. I was sleeping in the hot air. Yeah. So, yeah, we met because I started earlier and just kept going and drove past him, saw him. Then it rained again. I seeked shelter and he drove past me. And then I kept going again and I was faster than him, so I catched up. And we kind of got to know each other. So God kind of made it with the rain so that we would really not, just drive past once, but a few times and then get to know each other. Yeah, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and on the day, I had no idea how I would ever eat something. And I wrote down, Lord, please give me my daily bread. And I can remember, so write this right here. That's my book. Yeah, you have no idea how you would get your bread, and that's a prayer you should kind of pray every day. Or you're always thankful for the bread, but you don't know that you realize that it comes 100% from God. Yeah. And yeah. Then you realize that every piece of bread is a gift which saves your lives. Okay, so this guy, he provided for me for several days, and that's a gift from God, and I'm very thankful, even though it's not much, But yeah, I'm very grateful that God provided through him. So I won't say his name, but yeah, he's from Germany. He speaks German, grew up in German, and he's a Muslim. And God kind of told him to go to Turkey. So he was living like a nomad. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Someone who just walks around and lives off the ground. Who has no steady house but moves all the time. And yeah, he tried to live like that in Germany, and it didn't work. He tried it for 2 times half a year, just fishing and being out in the wild and reading the Quran. And yeah, but in Germany there's the forest belongs to people, and they kind of threw him out. Yeah, and yeah, he wanted to go to Turkey, and God told him to go to Turkey. And yeah, he is Muslim, grew up Muslim, but hadn't not much interest in God. And when he grew up, and he had a rough start because both of his parents died, and he said he has no friends, and yeah, low job, and yeah, he said he was doing drugs. But then God showed up, and yeah, it was not Jesus, but he said 2 angels, but they still had godly love, and that changes everything for him. Yeah, his whole life, because God's love is stronger than addiction and hate and grief and traumas. God's love is stronger. And this one encounter changed his whole life, and he's still a Muslim, but I'm certain it's the Christian God. But yeah, and he actually knew, God told him to do the trip, and he knew that he would have a companion, and that this companion would be good. Yeah, and that's me. And he told me that, yeah. Yeah, so he's the Muslim, but he knows God is love. I showed him the Bible verse. He has repentance. He asks God for forgiveness, and he knows the heaven. But it's everything is just like everything is there, which needs to be there, but it's small. And the Christian way of view gives the best reasons for it and the strongest and everything. But still, it's cool that he has, you know, a relationship with God, even though he doesn't know the right name of it. There he slept on the wine plants. That was cool. Yeah, and we just spent 4 days and talked about, you know, everything. It's yeah, you probably like won't see each other. Yeah, for a long time, so you can just say everything. And I did say like everything, which could somehow help. Yeah, so we had a great time, I would say. Yeah, we read the Bible together. That's cool. And one time he touched, yeah, he hadn't too much money either, and yeah, then we were like talking and saying, yeah, like what would be like really cool would be like really great food. Yeah, we talked about fish or meat or anything, and then I was just like, yeah, you know, we can just pray. So I did pray, and he said, yeah, he prayed as well. Yeah, he just said he reinforced it in his mind with his Muslim God. But yeah, afterwards. But anyways, I prayed and read, so, you know, you just got right. And nothing happened, you know, sure. And it even started, we kept going, and it started to rain. And he was like, yeah, there's, let's seek some shelter there. And it was like broken houses, and they probably don't have a roof, which are all over Italy. And I was just like, yeah, let's go the other way. And we read before the Bible verse I showed him, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened. So I could convince him that we go there, and I just asked the people if we can just stay under their house until the rain was over. And they were the like most kind people, yeah, you can imagine. Like she did not speak English, but still, yeah, she called her daughter, and she could speak English, and we had a great time. And they ordered pizza for us, and it was like exactly what we prayed for. Yeah, and we could shower, and that was great for like the muscles to relax for once in a while. Then you get like strength again in the next day. Yeah, we had a great time, and I still have the contact, and I have like invited them here some day to Austria. Yeah. So yeah. So again, like on the trip, it's like Matthew 10, Mark 6, Luke 9, Luke 10. So it occurs 4 times in the gospel, so it's quite important. Everything is important, sure, but if it's 4 times, then it's like very important. Yeah, I don't know anyone. I've never heard a story of anyone who did it. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know where I wanted to go with that. So yeah, I was going out with no money, with no food, with no shelter. I should have taken more clothes. Because it got cold. But yeah, just the Bible and, you know, my notebook. Yeah, and the girl. Yeah, he was guiding making the navigation, but it was pretty bad. It's quite depressing. when you go all the way and then back and on bad roads and yeah. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, there's some more stuff. I don't know if I should say it. I think God gave me a song on the way. Yeah, God provided. Let's say like that. Yeah, God provided. Yeah, and I was giving up like really, really close to the end, so like 80 or 90% of the distance I did, of the hard distance, because it's like the Alps. Yeah, and friends picked me up, and we went. They were there on Rome, and we went there to evangelize. We handed out cards. There's like the Catholic Holy Year 25, and if you go, you do have to do 5 things to be saved and or to lose your sins. And one of those is going through the gate of the Saint Peter Basilica. And we handed out cards with the Bible verse where Jesus says, "I am the way, and whoever I'm the gate, and whoever goes through me shall be saved." So it's not the gate of the dome, but Jesus, the person. And we handed out those, and we were just 3 guys, and it was great. And yeah, people liked it. Most people who took it liked it. Yeah, we saw the Pope, and yeah, it's just, you know, unbelievable cool to have friends, you know, who care for you. And yeah, I wanted to lend some money from them so I could pay for the camp and everything. But they were like, yeah, no. Yeah, and they have like a car and have food and everything. And it's yeah, you really get to appreciate it. Like that is like heaven, you know. In Luke 10 he says like heaven, kingdom of God is loving God and loving others, and they are, and you know, have nothing to offer them, and they just provide. And it's just, you know, they're like a soft heart where you can say what's on your heart, and you can just go there and be at home in their presence and in their hearts. It was a bit poetic, but yeah. Yeah, and they took me as well home to their house, and even paid the train to my city. And yeah, it's a beautiful family. With, yeah, yeah, and I just hope that I can be a blessing to them and for the kingdom generally, for everyone who's like that. Yeah, I really appreciated the companionship, and I really like decided at one point that I wanted to get fat. Just eat and eat and eat, and like really appreciate to have food, and I got way less social anxiety and just faith and confidence. Confidence means like confide with faith. Yeah, and it's like it's like the greatest adventure, you know. Go to Rome without anything, just with your bike. That's yeah. I probably think it will stay the biggest adventure of my life. I'm doing other projects and they are cool, but they're like over some time. Yeah, and throughout the whole trip, your mind is clear. Like you have nothing to distract, so the thoughts, which are all the time in your head, they kind of become conscious, and you can think about it all and then settle it, and that's great. Yeah. What do I want to change with my life? Less media, obviously. It's great that I appreciate more stuff and got closer to God, definitely. I want to write more. I still wanted to do that before that. I want to finish the tree cutting machine. I want to know by heart prophecies of the Bible. I needed them, but couldn't give them. Prophecies and prophecies. Yeah. And I kind of want to do it again. You know, I want to encourage a friend of mine to do it together with him in Spain. I do think like everything can be done, like even healing. I tried it once, but did not work. But it's not my fault; it's God's fault. My job is to pray. That's what God tells me. Like heal the sick. It's my job to pray, but it's God's job to heal. It's not me who does the healing. So yeah, I wanna see people's life transformed through. It says the harvest is ready. Like the harvest is ready. It just needs to be someone who gathers it. And so yeah, we should all pray that God sends people into the harvest. And if you pray that for 10 years, then maybe you could realize that, hey, I could do it myself. It sounds ironic, but I don't know anyone who does it. So yeah, I mean, it's one way of evangelizing. There are many, but it's like Jesus' way to evangelize, and it's kind of the only way he tells us to evangelize. Okay, there are more, but that's his way, and it is the most powerful way, and it's the most challenging way. And it says 4 times in the gospel to do it, and just one time in Luke, a short passage where he sends them out with something, like with money and with a Bible, with a sword, which is a Bible, and clothes. And so the goal is to evangelize, and 4 times without anything and 1 time with something. And if the case it's to evangelize with and without, then it does not make too much difference on evangelizing, but the without and with is for learning yourself that you can trust God. And I know I can trust God. I mean, you have to step out and be courageous and ask so that it will be given to you. But yeah, God always provides. And yeah, you get closer to God in the hard times. So if you step out, it's always a win. It doesn't matter if you get persecuted or if everyone cheers you on. It's both a win. The only thing we have to do is step out.